Well, I met my husband when we were both in grad school. God had led us both to the same seminary in Pasadena, and we ended up in the same Greek class. I know, Greek, the language of love. Well, he will tell you that I asked for his phone number first, which I did, and then I asked for everyone in our entire small group's phone numbers as well. Well, he had a friend that lived in my apartment, so he would come over to study Greek. And I'm pretty sure he must have been making those questions up because he went on to get a PhD in New Testament, and now he teaches Greek. So I don't know about those study questions. We dated for a while, and then we ended up breaking up, and we got back together in Hebrew class. I kid you not. I said, we better get this thing figured out because we are running out of dead biblical languages to study. Well, now we're married, have 4 kids, and we just speak the language of love. But hey, speaking the language of love, it's hard to do on the day-to-day, isn't it? So today on Faith Habits, we are talking about the faith habit of fun in your marriage. Faith habits connect your everyday behaviors with your belief system. Rather than letting the pressures and popularity of this world define you, the Faith Habit Show for Success will keep you focused on God's priorities for your life. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Lisa Toney. Well, marriage, it's the most intimate relationship that you can have with another human being. It is committed, it is in it for the long haul, and it's also maybe the hardest. Today, we are talking about the faith habit of fun in your marriage. So just to kick things off, I have a fun fall marriage date for you. You can go to lisatoney.com/fall date night and get that for free and have a fun night. You know, marriage divorce statistics are pretty sobering. They reveal that every 36 seconds, there's someone getting a divorce in the United States. That's an increase of about a third in 2020. And 20% of those are newly married couples that have been married 5 months or less. You know, all the stressors that combine together of unemployment, financial strain, in the last few years, death of loved ones, illness, homeschooling, mental illness, differences of opinion just about things like the vaccines and masks. They've all been leading causes of divorce. For people who get divorced, incompatibility is about 43% of divorces. Infidelity is 28%, and money issues is 22%. But it's not just during the pandemic that there's been heightened problems within marriage. We actually have fewer people getting married today because more and more people are living together rather than committing in marriage. According to one study done by Pew Research, 69%, almost 70% of Americans believe that it's okay to live together before marriage. So the reality of our culture is that more people have now lived together than been married. See, moving in together is viewed by most people as a step to take before marriage. It's kind of a test run to see if a couple is compatible before getting married. Now, that seems pretty logical, doesn't it? Here's the thing though. Research shows that couples who live together before marriage are 33% more likely to get divorced than couples who did not live together before the wedding. So, for the Christ follower, marriage is still something that God encourages, then thinks is a good idea. Christians may end up being some of the last ones standing that continue to champion marriage. Now, one of the best ways to protect your marriage is to enjoy it. Today, I want to give you some strategies for how to do this. These are faith habits that can re-energize your marriage and hopefully bring some fun back into it. Now, here's the thing about marriage. You have to feed a marriage. You have to feed it or it's going to starve. Do you ever go on vacation and pack way more snacks than you can ever eat? But you just want to have that base covered, just in case. What if you find yourself somewhere and there's no snacks? Or, hey, if you have kids, then I know that snacks are a prerequisite for daily life. When my kids were little, I would plan errands around snacks. 1 snack per store, sometimes 2 if there was a good sale. Now I have 2 teenagers in the house. Man, these kids like grow overnight. They skip sizes. I mean, I need 2 full-time jobs just to feed the voracious appetites of teenagers. Feeding kids is essential, but so is feeding your marriage. If you don't feed it attention, fun, and forgiveness, you will starve it and it will begin to die. Here's the good news. If you think your marriage is dead, you have Jesus, and Jesus brings dead things back to life. So maybe if you start to feed your marriage with some attention, fun, and forgiveness, it might just come back to life. Colossians 3:13 through 15 says, "Bear with each other and forgive one another. If any of you has a grievance against someone, forgive as the Lord forgave you. And over all these virtues, put on love, which binds them all together in perfect unity. And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace, and be thankful." Oh man, these are hard words to live by, but so helpful if we apply them to our marriages. Now, one of the marriage resources that the Gottman Institute encourages to feed your marriage is the idea of creating and maintaining love maps. Now, basically, this is like creating a catalog of all your partner's favorite things, the things they think about, the things that they dream about. It's asking questions and updating those answers inside of you as a love map, rather than assuming they always stay the same. When I had my first baby, I had a Dr. Seuss theme for her room. It was so fun. I loved it. For about a year or 2, I loved it. And then I was ready to move on. But people kept giving me Dr. Seuss stuff. I had updated, but people around me didn't necessarily know that. Well, the same is true in our lives and marriages. We update things, and we need to do that with our spouses. So love maps could be questions like, do you know your spouse's 2 best friends? What are your spouse's top 2 hobbies? What is your spouse's biggest stress at work right now? Questions like that. We all love to be seen and feel heard and known, and this is a great way to do this. I'm going to link to the Gottman site in the show notes if you'd like to see more about how to create a love map. They've got lots of great questions, and I think you're really going to enjoy how to start doing this. But you don't need their set of questions. You can just make some up, the things that you'd want your spouse to know about you. I love these love maps because they're so easy to do. You can do them on your own. You can do them on a date night. They're easy to update if you want to do it on your phone, in your notes, or even if you just want to journal them. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 says, "Therefore encourage one another and build one another up." And this is such a great way to do this. When we know one another, this is a way that we are building each other up to encourage each other. Now, there's another awesome resource that the Gottman Institute gives to couples, and it's an app called the Gottman Card Decks. And this app is free, and it gives you lots of great conversation prompts and questions to start conversations that are fun and free. It gives you lots of ideas if you're feeling maybe a little bit brain dead, so you can mix it up, escape the normal conversations just about the kids or the schedules or logistics, all the things that we usually daily fill our conversations with. When we're able to encourage our spouse rather than criticize our spouse, it's going to make your marriage more fun. Now, I know this one is hard. Have you ever heard the saying that being right is not nearly as important as knowing when to zip those lips? It's hard because the closer we are to a person, the more we see their flaws and their weaknesses. Over time, we get annoyed. Our patience wears thin and our self-restraint weakens. But criticism and contempt kills relationships. Coping strategies are what we default to remove us from the pain of enduring the hard parts we see in others. And those coping mechanisms can be withdrawing from each other, maybe drinking or eating or working late, disappearing into our screens. So to break this cycle, we've got to be able to communicate how words make you feel. Things like saying, "Hey, my feelings get hurt when you criticize me about this or this. I feel like you don't even like me. It makes me want to turn away from you rather than toward you." And we need to be able to apologize when we do that to our spouse. Say, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I want to do better. What could I say instead?" Well, maybe we could say something like, hey, instead of telling me what you don't like, can you tell me what you would wish could happen? You see, when communication patterns are persistent and destructive, we all need some help. And a Christian counselor might be that right person to get some help for you. You know, most couples wait way too long to get help. You don't have to be ready to get divorced to go to counseling. Any marriage can benefit from counseling and having someone to help guide and direct that relationship. Because marriage is meant to be a lifetime commitment. It is meant for the long haul. So we all need tips and strategies and encouragement to help us through the hard patches. Bringing some fun into your marriage can even be as easy as sending a text of encouragement to your spouse. Something like, I really like when you ... Or, I was so proud of you when ... Or, I'm thankful that you ... Try giving one of these texts to your spouse today. It's easy to focus on the negative, but it takes intentionality to be positive and encourage. It also takes both partners to commit to do this. When one spouse remains negative, it can kill a marriage. Marriage needs to be fed by both partners, or it will starve and die. Hey, I want you to know I'm cheering you on, and I have this fun, free fall date night that I think you're really going to love. So I want to invite you to head on over to lisatoney.com/fall date night and download it. Put it on your calendar, and it will give you a plan to put some fun into your marriage. Well, thank you so much for joining me today on Faith Habits. Every week, I bring you a strategy that is easy, powerful, and intentional to build healthy faith habits into your life. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Have a beautiful day. Easy, intentional, and powerful faith habits. Get your free Power Up prayer guide today at lisatoney.com/powerup. Thanks so much for joining me today on Faith Habits for Success. Here's to good faith habits, my friend. Be strong and courageous and stand firm in your faith. See you next time. Bye for now.